All right, everyone, gather around because today we are diving deep into the grimdark universe of Warhammer 40,000 with a first look at the latest Space Marine game. Now, if you're anything like me, you've probably spent a lot of time watching lore videos, or like others, spend countless hours on the tabletop painting miniatures and getting lost in the lore of this expansive universe. And if you're a gamer, you might be wondering if this new installment could actually snag that coveted Game of the Year title. So let's break it down. First off, let's talk about the Space Marines themselves. These towering behemoths of humanity are not just your average soldiers. They're genetically enhanced warriors, the elite of the elite, and they embody everything that is cool about the Warhammer 40k universe. From their iconic power armor to their relentless dedication to the Emperor, these guys are basically the superheroes of this grimdark setting. The visuals in the game do an impressive job capturing that essence. The textures on the armor, the intricate details of their weapons, and the overall atmosphere scream authenticity. You can practically feel the weight of the armor and the power of their weapons just by looking at them. Now, let's talk gameplay. The developers have promised a mix of visceral combat and strategic depth, which is music to my ears. If you've played the previous Space Marine titles, you know that the combat is brutal and satisfying. The way you can charge in a horde of orcs, chainsword revving, is nothing short of euphoric. But this time around, it seems they're adding layers to that experience. There are hints of RPG elements, skill trees, and customization options that could really deepen the gameplay. Imagine being able to tailor your Space Marine's abilities to fit your playstyle. Want to be a tanky frontline brawler? Go for it. Prefer to pick off enemies from a distance with a sniper rifle? You can do that too. This flexibility could make for a more engaging experience, allowing players to truly feel like they're crafting their own legendary Space Marine. And speaking of engagement, the story is another critical element that could set this game apart. The Warhammer 40k lore is rich and filled with epic narratives of heroism, sacrifice, and tragedy. If the developers can weave a compelling story that resonates with both veterans of the lore and newcomers alike, they'll have a solid shot at winning over the gaming community. Imagine a narrative that explores the moral complexities of war, the weight of duty, and the sacrifices made in the name of the Emperor. If they can pull that off while delivering thrilling action sequences, we could be looking at a game that not only entertains but also provokes thought. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the competition. The gaming landscape is fierce, especially when it comes to Game of the Year contenders. Titles like Elden Ring and God of War, Ragnarok have set the bar incredibly high. But here's the thing, Warhammer 40k has a dedicated fan base that is passionate and vocal. If this game can deliver on its promises, it could tap into that enthusiasm and create a buzz that rivals even the biggest titles. Gamers love a good underdog story, and a Space Marine game that exceeds expectations could very well steal the spotlight. Let's not forget about multiplayer aspects. The previous games had some solid co-op and competitive modes, and if this new title expands on that with innovative features, it could keep players engaged long after the campaign is over. Imagine teaming up with friends to take down waves of enemies, or engaging in epic PvP battles where strategy and teamwork are key. The community aspect of gaming is so important these days, and if the developers can foster a sense of camaraderie and competition, it could elevate the game even further. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what about the bugs? What about the launch issues that plague so many games these days? And you're right to be cautious. The gaming community has been burned before, and trust is hard to come by. But if the developers take the time to polish the game, listen to community feedback, and deliver a smooth launch experience, they could win over even the most skeptical players. Transparency and communication are key here. If they can show that they're committed to delivering a quality experience, it could go a long way in building goodwill. And let's not overlook the importance of accessibility. A game that is welcoming to new players while still offering depth for veterans is crucial. If they can strike that balance, they'll not only attract a wider audience, but also create a community that thrives on shared experiences. After all, Warhammer 40k is about more than just the battles. It's about the stories we create together, the friendships we forge, and the memories we make. So, could this new Space Marine game win Game of the Year? It's hard to say definitively, but it certainly has the potential. With stunning visuals, engaging gameplay, a compelling story, and a passionate community behind it, the stars might just align. It's all about execution now. If the developers can deliver a polished, immersive experience that captures the essence of Warhammer 40k while pushing the boundaries of what we expect from a game, we could be looking at a serious contender. In the end, whether or not it wins Game of the Year, I think we can all agree on one thing. The world of Warhammer 40k is as rich and vibrant as ever, and the prospect of stepping into the boots of a Space Marine once again is something to be excited about. So let's keep our fingers crossed, our power armor ready, and our chainswords revving. The Imperium of Man needs us, and it's time to show what we're made of.